Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. We're going to give it some time for people to come in. We're actually going to have a really dope discussion today with a brother. And so let me make sure I send this live over to him while everyone is getting the notifications. And I'm going to have to... All right, so he should be coming on shortly. I'm really excited to do this live with him because we're going to be talking about tapping in to your subconscious mind in a way of, just bringing forth the lavish abundance of the universe into your life, right? Into your mind, your body, your spirit. And so, hello, divine being. Give me one moment. I am gonna bring you on, brother, but I'm gonna have to. How are you doing? How are you doing, beautiful? It's lovely to have you here. All right, there we go. Is he on? Hey, yo!
Hello.
Did you just say what the hell?
No, I said hello.
Oh, hello. Greeting. Oh, look at Beehive already. You see the vibes? You see the vibes? We and the bees are coming now. They said we cooking, putting in this work. Don't worry, bees. We're not cooking y'all. Okay. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm luscious. I'm lavish. I'm wealthy and
Mm,
happy and loving it. So yeah. So
yeah.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's coming in. This beautiful soul who we have in front of us that I'm already sweating, right? That's just how channels start working. When you're excited, you just start sweating. So his soul is so divine. A lot of the times people get caught up on imagery, and so there things play a role for a reason. And we're going to talk about that because subconscious minds. But I say this because when you look at a person, sometimes you look at what they're wearing, you think about what they're saying, and you're like, I don't know. This dude has a crystal amethyst for his name that might be a little too hippie, gypsy. I ask you all to come in with an open mind and open hearts, right? Because I say this because I have people from the hood that come here and watch and everything. And I think it's really important for everyone to just allow their minds to unlearn what they think they know about life and allow yourself the opportunity to learn something new. And if you don't learn something new, at least you opened yourself up to the opportunity to learn something new. So you allowing space for something to come in, and perhaps you receive that after the live or whatever the case may be. But just wanted to put that out there. This brother here, I mean, he does so much for himself, that does so much for the world. He does so much for the world. He does so much for Pachamama, for Gaia, for, Soul Tribe family. I don't even know where to start because I feel like human words cannot truly explain or describe or define who you are and what it is that you do, um, other than you are soul tribe, we are one with the great divine. And your light is immaculate, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you here. And so I just want to say thank you for taking the time and the opportunity to talk with all of us. And so I'm gonna be quiet now. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and get us into the portal in which you would like to start diving into for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words. Acknowledgement. It's really wonderful to be here. I appreciate you opening the space and the invitation and everybody tapping in here. And yeah, I mean, it's all reflections, right? We're all on this journey together of collective remembrance at this time on earth of this holy shift when all the collective subconscious trauma that we have and individuals coming to light. And as it comes to light, it's to be revealed, and that's to be seen. And when it's seen, it's to be acknowledged and also not to be in service to it. And that's really probably one of the main motivators I have here right now. I'm a father also. And really, it's like, remembering that we're here as stewards and we're here temporarily. And as we're here temporarily, it's like, what is our impact? And a lot of what is happening right now in my experience and what I see in the world is that there are impacts that have been imprinted upon the DNA. And the DNA is the essentially biologic quantum supercomputer that contains all source code. So as all of this is, we're remembering what has been imprinted, and it's all, free will and consent. So we've all agreed to it at a certain level. And it's just remembering that, hey, we agreed to what this is here now, and we can agree to it being differently. But in order for it to get to that space of being different, we've got to acknowledge what it is that has been repressed and hidden. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm so focused with, all the things that I do, but the common thread through it all is really education, empowerment, and embodiment. And we came here to be embodied. The vessel is like the most incredibly attuned spaceship for moving through this dimension. And with embodiment, it's acknowledging that this is consciousness in form. It's not just some random hodgepodge of water and bone and earth and fire and air. There's intelligent design to it. And if there's intelligent design to it, and we were given the gift to be here and create, then it's to be in service to that intelligent design. And remember that everything is already encoded within us. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing what's within so our external reflects it as well. And so that comes back to, the great opening and intro you gave, and that it's all just really a reflection. So where I am here, Amethyst Flame is a name I go by.
It's fire, by the way. Yeah, sorry.
What's that?
Your name is fire, by the way.
Thank you. I mean, it all kind of started somewhat as a joke way back when, before I was fully committed to this path. Friends of mine are in a band and they put out an EP called You Promised Us Wizards. So I went dressed as a purple wizard and I was handing out magic medicine to people. So it started as a joke that way, but as the cosmic humor is a funny thing. It's like, oh, I'm just joking around, but then it's like, wait a minute, this is actually part of my embodiment. And yeah, my intention being here right now is basically co-creating sanctuary during this holy shift. And that starts within, and that basically encompasses all the things that I do when it comes to frequency, scalar, rewiring the subconscious, being in community, co-founding community with the Rainbow Bridge PMA, and also coming to a space of remembering that all the abundance is here and it's our divine birthright. And it's a matter of recoding the DNA and the subconscious to remember and accept that this is actually what we're supposed to be here in embodiment with. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I've said a good amount there as an intro, and I'm happy to pause and hear anything that you want to share, or any direction that we want to go in.
Yeah, I think you said a lot, and I think that's really good for everyone to just take a moment and digest that. I'm gonna take a sip real quick, and then I do want to go a little bit into what you were just saying. So I'm gonna take a sip to digest. What is life? What is healing? What is cleansing? You want to stay hydrated when you are just open to receiving information and allowing the information to, get integrated into your being. Just as a reminder for everyone. So constant hydration check. Yeah. with all the codes, with our bodies just being like quantum computers, like you were saying, and you being a part of the Rainbow Bridge, and how I brought you like years ago. You kind of shared a bit on your journey with that, and so I don't want to go too much into that, but I do want to say that the connection with the rainbow, and like even though it was a joke with him dressing up as the purple wizard and the crystals, you know we are crystalline beings. We have a city of jewels, right? Where the solar plexus is called. It's known as the city of jewels. And we have thousands of crystals, minerals in our bodies. And so we are never really in lack. We are always abundant. And, we are primarily made up of water as well. And water, what you speak life into the water, what you speak upon, they say, what the mind says, the body follows, and so that's because, the dialect that you are having with yourself and your body, it's hearing the words and it's shifting its vibration to match that energetic frequency. And I just recently got some shit legit. Yeah, if y'all want some shit legit, I'll tell y'all, I was by far, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I've had shit legit before, and it was so powerful and so potent. A little goes a long way. I was like, whoo. Talk about abundance and minerals, and feeding the body to be a energetic resonance to what it is that you want to attract, right? Like that's why a lot of people are tuning in here. Is like they're like, yeah, how do I do this? And you know, as we mentioned in the beginning, like you doing the work for yourself is doing work for the world. It is servitude, right? And staying hydrated, doing that, all of us independently here, we have that sovereignty to choose if we're going to hydrate ourselves or be dehydrated. And that in itself is a frequency of abundance or, like lack. So I just really wanted to say that because sometimes we do feel like we need to buy a whole bunch of like crystals outside of us, or, candles and coins. And yet those things work to help us tap into the subconscious mind. But we really do, just in breathing, I feel like anytime I'm exhausted or drained, right? When you're feeling drained, it's almost like you're feeling like you're out of resources. You don't have your battery up. Just remember to breathe. That is abundance. That is the spirit of life, you know? And so I just needed to breathe there for a moment, and I'm going to take another breath here. If you want to join me, that's fine. Exhale. Just feel your body, how rich. That's richness there. That is wealth. That is beyond what any material can bring, but it's also capable of materializing everything that you want to materialize. That's how powerful you are. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that. So I think really going into the realms of abundance in the subconscious mind, because for those of you who aren't following him, highly suggest you do. I mean, he has a plethora of information for so many different things of healing when it comes down to the subconscious mind, to sound frequency, to scalar, as he mentioned. We are scalar beings as well. But again, if you need the tools and the assistance, something outside of you, this, I don't bring just anybody to my platform unless I 100% like really trust in their energy. And I mean, even the cloud buster, I had a cloud buster, like, come on, like just the family, okay? Rainbow family, rainbow tribe is not about how you look. It's not about how you dress. It's not about how you speak. Okay, we are all one. We here. It's the mission is higher, and we're only bringing high value, with integrity, right? We're doing things with integrity. And I'm saying we because even though I want you to talk a little bit more on the rainbow, because I know you have like your whole Rainbow Bridge thing going on over there. I still consider me rainbow. I don't care what anybody got to say, you know? So
Mhm.
if y'all need the resources, they are available to you. And if he don't have it, if I don't have it, we can point you to somebody who does. And I think that is another way of looking at abundance to start off with. It really starts with the little things in order to draw in the big things, right? If you want to get that 10 G's, 50 G's in 2 months, a month, 3 weeks, in a year, you want to be a billionaire. It starts with the little things, appreciating the little things. What do you have ready and available to you? You have your breath, you have water, you have the earth, you have the air, the elements around you. You have people, you have the internet, okay? You have a phone that you're probably watching us through. And so there's a way, when there's a will, there's a way. Your willingness to do something is free. Now, the action is the cost to do it, but it takes a certain amount of sweat equity. I like that word. Water Priestess used the word sweat equity, and I'm running with it. You have to do certain sweat equity in order. It's like people say you got to spend money to make money, right? You got to put an investment in. So that's either paying attention, right, or delivering an action towards something. Let's use really quick the Super Bowl just passed, and in the halfway time they do all these shows. The celebrities don't get paid to perform in the Super Bowl. So that's a form of sweat equity because they know if I show up here, I'm going to receive a magnitude of abundance because of all the people that's watching, right? And so even if you feel like, well, nobody's watching me, who's watching? You watching you, okay, at all times. And sometimes we cheat ourselves out. I know I'm guilty of it. We will cheat ourselves out sometimes because who's watching? Who's paying attention? You are. Your body is. Your cells, your organs, your spirits that if you believe in spirit guides, they're watching, right? So do it for you and everything else is gonna follow through. So with that, right? Let's talk a little bit more with like your journey with the whole like rainbow and how it led you to this whole like subconscious programming and getting towards like manifesting anything.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. Wow, so much good stuff in there. I want to take it back and this will bring it all together. But like you started talking about the body, the crystals, the minerals, and then Shilajit, and it's like all of that is already within us. The pineal gland has piezoelectric crystals in it. Now, I believe that when you combine parasympathetic breath with sympathetic breath in certain ways, that it's not just what I believe, right? Like the pineal, you'll get more blood in your body, and it's going to go to the pineal gland and activate it. And this is where I think what happens is the pineal gland will release a very small amount of DMT, but the piezoelectric crystals in it, when the blood goes in there and expands it, it's compressing the crystals and creating electric charge and superconducting it. So all that abundance is already within us. And so it's taking whatever small DMT released and other hormones and expanding that because now it's superconducted. So when we start talking about, all right, like we're already this abundant, then let's honor this temple of abundance. And that's where the tools come into place. Like the tools aren't going to do it for us. They're going to assist us and help us make quantum leaps. So when you work with plant medicine like Shilajit and sea moss together specifically, that gives your vessel all the minerals it needs. We're electromagnetic beings with a torus field. And the food has been leached of minerals. The soil has been leached of minerals. So if it's been leached of minerals, our sustenance, our nourishment, then our electromagnetic field is going to be weak, which means we're more susceptible to lower vibrations. So when we honor this temple and honor the wealth that's already here and magnify it, then the outer reflects that. And with Rainbow Bridge, so Rainbow Bridge is it's the prayer of 7 generations, essentially. It's not my prayer. I'm a steward of it. We have a place that we call Rainbow Bridge. We have a PMA, which is a private membership association. We have agreements and guidelines, and all this has come from being in community for the last 4 years with a lot of different people coming and staying, moving on, and people building together and coming and revealing each other's light and shadow. And that's what it's really about. I feel when we're communing in unity as community is acknowledging that the duality is there and we have to be responsible for our personal containers. So what got me here was a commitment in 2015 to get land and put a pyramid on it. And then in 2020, they put up 5G behind the house I was in Chicago. I said, it's time to leave. And then very intensively and intentionally visualized what was next. And this land showed up, and it was basically everything I was saying. And like I'd record it and listen back to it. And then it showed up. So there would be trails, structures, water. There's even going to be a punching bag. And there was all those things. But the thing that I wasn't putting in there was the community. It was just getting to the space. So what had to happen to get there was I had to get Lyme disease, and I had to clear all parasitic contracts. And that was my intention. I started to say was I'm clear of parasites in all levels of my mind, body, and spirit. And 2 days later, I didn't know I had Lyme at the time. I was in like a 3 or 4 day, like 103 hallucination, fever, delirium, alone out here. And it was really challenging and hard. I end up, my eyes droops a little bit. It's because I got facial paralysis at this time too. And basically, like for 6 months, I cleansed. I cleaned up how I was eating, and I was working with herbs to kill the spirochetes, but they would go away, then come back, and I could feel them move. Like they're in my body. I'm feeling them energetically. I'm aware of their intentions as parasitic entities and energies. And it wasn't until that went on for 6 months, and then I went to Miami. I met Devon, and he put me onto his teachers and the scalar tech energy he was working with, the scalar tech he was working with. And I realized that I had already been working with similar devices and frequencies for like 20 years. So I came back, and for 1 month intensively, I like ran through scalar, ran through frequency programs, and it was very intense and very unpleasant. And I cleared a lot of stuff on the quantum. And after that 1 month, all the symptoms went away. 2 years, symptoms, over 2 years now, symptom free. And that was really the catalyst and the awakening that like, okay, there is something deeper going on here. I can't just say I'm clear of all parasites. Now I got to go to the root of why I agreed that they were here to begin with, why I agreed to that. And I was super mad at the tick, and now I'm grateful because without that, I wouldn't be where I am. And in order for Rainbow Bridge to move beyond that, I had to go through that, because if I was still in that space, internally, I'm in a space of lack because I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I have enough space to fill with worthiness, so I'm welcoming in other things to feed. At the time, let me correct my word magic there. I was welcoming in those things to feed. And if I had still been in that frequency, every action I would have taken to be a co-creator of community would have attracted that same energy. And it did at times. So it's been a long process over these years, but there's progress with it. And that's the thing, like there are times where I want to give up. There are times where it feels too hard. There are times where I don't think there's a way out of it. And those are all little stories stuck in my ego and my DNA. But the thing is that when you commit to it and stay with it, like there is the progress. It might not just happen how fast you want it to happen. And that's the whole thing with like the concept of manifestation, right? Like we're technically, how I feel about it, we're not manifesting anything. Like we are just aligning to the divine plan by releasing our fears of not manifesting things, of not having the things that we want, of not having what we desire. And when you start diving into the deep, like subconscious work, like desire is important. It's very important. But the most important thing is the mind-heart coherence and emotional templating. And that is not possible to achieve if your subconscious is running story loops based on fear and trauma. Because then anything that you envision is going to be in that frequency of fear. So when what you were sharing about wealth already being here and remembering that, like that is the code, is that just by being here in these vessels, we're in this space of wealth. And where we are now with Rainbow Bridge is we're at a space now where the community is coming together on bigger and larger initiatives and anchoring really big things in here in the physical space in Illinois and in other spaces. We're going to be doing something in Costa Rica in a few months. There's talks of doing things in California, and there's the Rainbow Bridge. It's the earth grid, right? So like I got it from the Maya. They had the concept of the Kuxan Sum, and that's how they saw connecting back to source. And it was through all the suns back to central suns and through the Rainbow Bridge of light. I do a lot of earth grid work and a lot of studying and research based around the UVG grid. Thank you, Dan Shaw, Vortex Detective. Thank you, Beth Hagins and William Becker for putting it together. Thank you, Buckminster Fuller, for your concepts of the geodesic dome. But when you look at the ley lines in the earth grid, it's macro, micro, right? We have our Taurus, we have our energy channels. Pachamama, Mother Earth, has her Taurus, has her energy channels. And these ley lines in this earth grid is the Rainbow Bridge of light. It's the interface between the material aspect of Mother Earth and the cosmic multidimensional aspects of the divine that bring those codes in. And our DNA is biophotonic. It responds to light and sound, like you were saying with the waters of our body. The DNA lives in the cell, and it lives in the cytoplasm of the cell, which is 80% water. So your DNA is living in water, essentially. So when we work very specifically with frequencies, and those can be words that we say, mantras, affirmations, and we can also use tools to quantum leap those. Like when you work with a frequency device, what I like to say is you're basically calling in your own personal like monk of yourself to just chant mantras of positivity for your DNA. Like in the Buddhist, there's like the Vajrasattva. If you chant it 100,000 times, I think, it clears like a number of lifetimes of karma. So when we're working with these frequency devices, I like to think of it that way, that I just have somebody on deck that's consistently chanting positive mantras and reminding my DNA of its originally encoded frequencies and not what's been embedded in it through trauma and through abuse, and on an individual level, on an ancestral level, and on a collective level. And I'll just bring all this together by like the wealth is within, as my sister was here saying in such a good way. And when we acknowledge the wealth is within and be true stewards of that, without expectations of it shifting as quick as our ego wants it, that's when this entire vision board of this dreamscape that we call the 3D matrix reality shifts along with our inner, what our inner dialogue is, our inner knowing is, and our inner vibration is.
Thank you. I think you said a very important key here for a lot of people, or even for me, is the practice of concentrating on what it is that you want. You know, we do tend to focus on the negative. It's a lot easier sometimes to focus on the negative. So you have to kind of constantly do affirmations and mantras to, you know, override. Or they say you have to like say 9 positive things, I think it is, to override like 1 negative, you know, thing to your body. And so it is really important to remember that. For those of you who either just came in or was watching, listening earlier, you know, the brother mentioned having to go through, you know, the whole rites of passage of clearing out like Lyme disease and all the parasites and everything that he was going through in order to really, you know, start getting a clear, tangible fruitfulness of his manifestations. It wasn't that he had the manifestations already, but he was still occasionally attracting certain beings into his vibration, because he was still clearing things out. And it's very easy to go back to what you're used to at times, right? And or like certain favorite foods, and when you're concentrating on a specific goal that you want to achieve, I like to say the war's already been won, right? So it is about becoming the energetic resonance to that. But if there's certain people around, is not to criticize the people or judge them or anything, is to simply identify the energy that is present in your space, so that you can know how you want to breathe through this experience. And, is this an experience that you're going to, do words of power mantra around to let it ripple? And sometimes that's going to create a tower moment, right? It's going to feel like everything around you is collapsing, is chaotic, there's a war, like there's just so many things going wrong. And like he said, you're gonna feel like you want to give up. And I think for those of you that believe in prayer, doing prayer along with meditation is gonna help you. If you have a hard time meditating, put on certain sound frequencies, for that's in alignment with what it is that you are allowing yourself to become one with. Essentially, you're only becoming one with it. You're becoming the energy that you claim you want to receive. It's already been delivered to you. It's already yours, right? They say energy cannot be created nor destroyed, and so it simply is already. It's just talking to your body and allowing, like commanding it in a way to be in alignment with it. Like I like to say, I'm on my highest timeline. That's a commandment, and I'm going to declare it every day. It's a declaration of rights, and so you allow yourself the rights and the honor and the privilege. You're all of it. You are essentially all of it. Okay, just remembering that. Take a shower if you can, or take a cup of water and talk to your water, right? But again, it's just talking to yourself and putting yourself in that frequency. And if it's moving too slow, okay, is there a certain way to breathe? Because my nervous system has so much trauma, that's stuck. It feels stuck. It feels tense. Mantras will have your body shaking. And don't stop just because it's shaking. There's going to be moments in life that things are going to feel like you're shaking in your boots. It's going to be scary at times. Breathing will do the same. Sometimes your body you're doing a breathing technique and you're wanting to clear these traumas, and you're having involuntary body movements happening, and you're like freaking out. What is going on? Like, you start to realize when you feel like your body has a mind of its own, and you're actually sharing the mind with your body, but it kind of does. There's so many versions of you that have a mind of its own. Your happiness has a characteristic for a reason, and it seems to have an illusion of its having its own mind to know what happiness is, just like your anger does, or your sadness. And so all of those are not separate from you, but you don't have to be that either. So again, energy not being destroyed or created, the beginning and the end is already here. So just getting present with yourself, getting into the stillness, getting into, like you mentioned, in order to the heart and the mind, resonance frequency. When you could have had an experience where your foresight is very clear in its direction, your intuition is strong and it's powerful, and you're reaching places from your higher heart, and you're happy, you're in bliss, and you're manifesting everything. And then all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, you go to this new level and you feel like things are coming down, and you feel like you have to start all over or something. You're asking yourself why. It could be that there was something, I don't want to say so much karmatic. Well, yeah, I'm going to use the word karmatic, right? Because karma is just simply cause and effect. in a sense, right? And so it could have just been as simple as, you criticizing yourself, or you holding on to your parents possibly criticizing you, or not even realizing, subconsciously holding on to, like, traumas from your mom's womb. The womb space is full of potential. And, we just, I say in those moments, not to get too far out there, but if you're feeling like you're stuck in a trauma, know that there is no such thing as being stuck. That's the first illusion. That's the first thing about the Maya that can play a trick, and tricks are for kids, right? And so if you're gonna act like a kid and fall into these tricks, you might as well play a different game, because that game is not working for you, right? If you don't like being a loser, and you're telling yourself, oh, I'm just losing and everything, so then what are you good at? And maybe play a game where, what, I'm gonna play this game because I know this is what's gonna make me win, and that'll help boost your confidence. Maybe for a while. It's not to abandon what your fears is. In fact, you're just giving yourself the opportunity to build some confidence, so you can go back into that space, right? And say, where do I get this loser thing from? Where's the root of this? Why am I talking to myself this way? Why do I feel this way? Ask yourself questions. All of a sudden you realize you have an abundance of questions. So you are not lacking. You have an abundance of opportunities to express yourself however it is, right? And then you find solutions, because I feel like for every one problem, there's thousands of solutions. It's not just with one problem, there's one solution. We have infinite potentials, right? So just breaking through that, realizing, okay, if I feel stuck, I know for every problem there's many solutions. Then I cannot truly be stuck, because I have options, I have opportunities. Maybe I'm sitting still. Maybe it appears as if I'm not moving. And maybe that is what is necessary for you to do at that time, so that you can actually move at a faster rate than you actually realize, right? Because your conscious mind, it's a little bit slower than the subconscious mind anyways. There's a slight delay there, right? And so just get out your own way, get out of your head for a moment, and allow yourself to just get lost in yourself for a moment. And you can't you can't leave yourself. You can never abandon yourself. Truly, you're always going to be with yourself. So if you get lost with yourself, just try to concentrate on what was the focal point, and that's how you're going to find yourself again. You're going to find just every avenue that you take in the darkness, in your light, you're going to find that all the roads in the path is going to lead you back to yourself. And so all of that is bountiful. It has different personalities, it has different appearances, right? And it moves at different speeds. And that's okay. All of that, whether it's fast or it's slow, if it's angry, because sometimes, some people, they manifest with sacred rage. Like they will manifest something super fast like that, right, through their sacred rage. It's not about the ability to manifest, it's what are you wanting to manifest, which it goes back to the power of your concentration, being your bindu, your focal point to get back to. So that way, regardless of what it is that you want tangibly, you're able to get there. So I just kind of I know I said a lot, and I just to kind of you made a post the other day about, I know it was like crypto, and we were talking about like quantum leaping and our bodies being like computers, and the way of the world is kind of getting like, it seems like war, it seems like chaos, it seems like, who did it and ran, where am I going out? People feel lost, people feel like, there are people that are they lost their jobs, and all these things, right? And so they feel like they're losing a sense of self. Well, hopefully they gain enough to do the work, right? To find themselves in that way. But with that being said, the way of the world is shifting financially as well, right? And so part of abundance, when people hear abundance, they think money. Now, pretty much we was like, abundance is everything, is not just money. But for those that are like trying to figure out what is this crypto thing, should I be afraid of it? Should I be okay with it? You know, that I'm old school. I like, you know, the dollar bill, and this whole technology thing is taking over. The robots are gonna get us, or like, you know, some of us is like, oh, we the Jetsons, you know, we working with it. So can you share with us a little bit of like what that's looking like for you and your journey, and like any I guess like advice or insight you would want to share with us when it comes down to the energetic shift of this new age with technology and money and resources and all of that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I just want to acknowledge everything you said there. And really, like, before jumping into that, like, the base thing with any of it, whatever is falling apart, whatever tower moment you're having, whatever tower moment we're having collectively, is my sister was sharing about, come back to the breath. We are individually and collectively healing trauma. It's just what's happening here on Earth. And the number one tool in all the stuff that we're talking about is come back to the breath, and specifically learn the difference between sympathetic breathing, which excites your nervous system and can lead to massive DMT releases and hormonal releases, and is also good for cold plunges. But if you're already in a space where you're feeling these emotions of fear or anxiety, it's only going to exacerbate those. And then there's parasympathetic breathing. That is the cornerstone of all the work that I do with rewiring the subconscious. The parasympathetic is rest and digest. And the easiest, most simple way to think of it is you want to double your exhale. So if you breathe in for 5 seconds, you breathe out for 10 seconds. Do that for 10 minutes and watch how everything shifts. And as you're doing that, any thought that comes in, just I acknowledge that thought and I dissolve it. And so that's the cornerstone. And the next part that's so important is creating inner sanctuary. And that is as easy as just imagining your most favorite place, whether it's a memory, a vision, a dream. Create that space and envision holding a key, and tell all the parts of yourself, you're all welcome here with this key, and nothing that's hurting you can follow you here. Do that every day for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You're going to build this place out. It's going to become second nature, and parts of yourself are going to come home, and they're going to come back to this space, and they're going to let go of their agreement to be in the loop and the trauma. And when I say they, it's just another piece of us. It's an energetic piece. We're fractals of the creator. If you look at a Mandelbrot fractal, you'll see it's all the same shape, infinitely large and infinitely small. And so when we're talking about getting into where we are now here on Earth with these insanely huge shifts with technology, technology is just a reflection of our inherent abilities that we forgot. So technology is here to remind us, and we can either remember that technology is always going to be made by us in a sense. So with that being the case, it's not a fear of it and not a fear of who's assigned to work with it in a negative way, but how can I become, I like to call it like a source amplifier. Like, how can I amplify my mission quicker and faster? And that's what I see happening with technology right now in many different aspects, not just in the crypto space, but with remembering what tensor rings are and harmonizers are and frequency devices are. I want to break some down real quick. You're going to find a lot of people out there that like to mystify these things, and the people that I work with don't. We're not gatekeepers. We want everybody to know what's up, and so they can implement it for themselves. Almost all scalar devices and frequency machines are the same, and they're very simple. It is something that plays a frequency, plays it through an amplifier, and runs it through copper geometry, sacred geometry, bifilar coil, tesseracts. And what it's doing is it's every frequency has its own shape. Look up cymatics or Dr. Masaru Emoto. It runs it through, it amplifies it, and now that shape is getting spun in the geometry and creating a torus, a little scalar. It's exciting the existing scalar energy. So once you get into scalar and start learning more, it's a lot, it's deep, but the basic concept of it in my experience is it's source consciousness, and the DNA is the biological supercomputer of source consciousness. So Once we get into a space of demystifying a lot of the tech, that's where I'm really about. And when it comes to Web3, blockchain, cryptocurrency, the easiest way to demystify it is this. Money only represents currency with agreements. So money, paper, or money trading assets or animals, which it was back in the day, right? It still is now with the barter even more than ever. It was amazing to see what the EU farmers did. But that money is a currency. And if we're thinking of ourselves as water-based beings, it's always flowing to us and through us. So to demystify this space around the Web3 and blockchain, it's basically the internet, but in order to interact with it, you got to have a wallet, they call it. But what it really is essentially a little digital like safe that has a code to it that lives somewhere in an equation on the blockchain. Only you can access it. But if you want to interact with a website that's Web3 or a financial protocol, you got to have this wallet. So it's just the internet with you being able to be in full control of your assets and your identity and your name and your messaging when you do it with the right way that is decentralized and not based on centralized servers or protocols or applications. Now, when we do this, the next part to realize is that this thing is happening with you or without you. And at some point, you're going to be dragged into it. Until the solar flare happens, which, you know, is a timeline that can happen, maybe will happen. I don't know. I don't see into the future. But right now, like, we're literally at this turning point of we can either adopt it early and know how to move in the space as a tribe and support each other and claim our abundance and enrich ourselves and our communities, and also create structures that are not reliant on the old centralized systems. So some very creative ways that you can work in this space, aside from what everybody knows about making money off coins going up or down, is you have the ability to basically create a decentralized autonomous organization or a DAO. And with that DAO, it can operate in different jurisdictions, different governments and countries through a private wallet that you can have no identifying information. It can be set up essentially as a community held trust for initiatives. So, you know, there's conversations I'm in with people of who are stewards of land, and with that land, they want to create some kind of relationship with the first people and have them be a part of it. So there's ways to do that on the paperwork side, the 2D side, with trusts and whatnot. And there's also ways to do this on the blockchain side, the Web3 side, where it can all remain private. And you can basically create your own communities. There's a project called Dero, D-E-R-O. They are definitely New Earth architects, and they are definitely thinking future forward in how we can all have our decentralized spaces that are only accessed by those that have access to it through community or however we get into it. And as far as the abundance of it, so it's looking at it like it's not just money, not just that the currency is much bigger than that. And especially in the space is just another reflection of our conscious and our subconscious minds individually and collectively. So what I'm most conscious of and aware of, and my intention is really, I've been in the space for 7 years, since 2017. I've had a lot of really good teachers. I have a really great teacher in Chicago, Blockchain Bully, and other people through him in his community. And where I'm at with it is a lot of it is super advanced. And even when I'm in that space, I'm like, whoa, this is overwhelming. But what I'm really about is like, what is the foundation that people can get into the space, be able to move in the space in an educated, informed, and empowered way, and be able to interact with their community privately. So we don't have to go through these kinds of platforms that harvest our information and go do whatever they want with it, but we can communicate and build and co-create in ways that are beyond the scope of other jurisdictions. And that's kind of like what has gotten us into this quandary on Earth. We've externalized our power so much that now we, not all of us, but that there is a collective group mind, egregore, pendulum, groupthink that believes that there's going to be some kind of savior that's going to come fix them. And that's not the case. That it's up to you. You're the one you've been waiting for. You're the one your ancestors worked and went through everything they did to get here. And when it comes to moving in this space, like I'm all about like it is very much a frontier space. It is very much still developing, and there are plenty of unscrupulous people out there that are still behaving from their spaces of trauma. So you got to get in the space with a trusted tribe and community and be able to know how to move, because when 20 of us are working on things, it's moving 20 times faster, and you don't have to make 20 times the same mistakes. And that's what I've seen be most effective, is by being in good community and working with each other, that we can move way faster in the space. And also that it's not about getting rich quick. It's about comprehension over compensation. My teacher operates on that 100% all the time. It's like, learn it and then apply it to what is your mission. Is your mission to be a trader? Okay, great. Then focus on charts. But if your mission is to be here as a New Earth architect and make tensor rings, then there is something in the Web3 space that's going to support that for you. And that's where you want to look. So key thing for me is like building community, right? So Rainbow Bridge is a DAO. We have a charter. We are in the spaces of like officially launching it, but that is part of it. And what that looks like is we're going to have spaces that are secure and private where we can exchange and interact and build together. And that goes beyond just, hey, this coin's popping. No, like, hey, I'm making tensor rings, I'm making orgonite, and I'm making frequency devices. Let's combine them together and go out here and do this Earth grid work over here. So it's really a very far-reaching thing. And I invite everybody to think about how the internet has already changed your life. And this internet we're on right now is outdated. Like, it's not the new operating code. So we're moving into a space of new operating code. And if we want to really be in our embodiment, then it's up to us to decide how much we're ready to embody. And that's a key thing, is we're here to hold bandwidth. We're not here to say, I'm only going to be light and love. Like, shadow doesn't exist. Like, no, that's how we got here. So the bandwidth is to see it all and acknowledge it all, and then make a conscious, sovereign, free will decision of what we're choosing to align to. So the simplest way I'll wrap all that up is just saying, like, this is another way to express abundance as a community, and to experience abundance, and to acknowledge and claim abundance. And if you're coming from a space of fear about, oh my goodness, the robots, the AI, this and that, like, then that is what is going to be reflected in your reality. I'm not here to say AI is going to help us, save us, hurt us, end us. I'm just here to say right now that it is up to you with your discernment to choose where you want to move in the space, and that not all of the space is dictated by fear. That's up to you if you're choosing to be in fear vibration. And all that comes back to is, do you have inner sanctuary? If you have inner sanctuary, then you're going to be tapped in with your intuition. If you're tapped in with your intuition, then you're going to recognize intrusive thoughts, which are not your own. And the deeper you go with this process of self-inquiry and observing the observer, the more you will see it is all you, but it's not necessarily all you that you're deciding right now in this moment. And you get to pick and choose what you carry forward into the next moment.
Thank you for that transmission. That was definitely powerful. Hydration check for those of you there, because I'm about to take a sip here. That's you know, when we're talking about bartering the resources, or just removing the entities, right? As we were talking about, you know, declaring your rights, and you know, a lot of the lingo is gonna look similar, right? As you mentioned, wallet, a crypto wallet, right? You need a wallet, and a lot of us, we carry wallets with us, right? And for those, there's people that they're not carrying wallets no more. They are tapping with the phones. You're already using the technology as it is. You're shopping online. You're doing all these things, and a lot of the times, if you are in a space where I'm just gonna give like three gems, I guess, that I feel like is necessary. If somebody was asking for, I mean, I didn't see it there, but I felt like somebody was asking for like a mantra, right? You can chant it as many times as you feel like you can go, right? But at least like try to do a minimum 108. They say 45 if you want to do 45. I say, listen, if you can't, you don't have a mala bead or a prayer beads, and you can't just be chanting, do 3 times or put on a timer, right, for 5 minutes and just go as many times as you can with that time. But stream, SHREEM, right? That's going to really allow for you I'm not going to say too much because I want you to go through your journey as you will, but that's gonna bring you into connection with the divine feminine energies. That is going to show you how everything is birth and how bountiful and prosperous you are. And that's gonna, the divine feminine energy is subconscious realm as well. And so you're using both because you're consciously chanting stream, and consciously doing something is masculine energy. It is a structure or a pattern that is being created. And so it's when you start to feel like you're choosing one over the other, you're not doing that. You're everything all at once, right? But you're gonna find yourself being around again those any entities or energies that's not serving you well, and commanding that. You have the ability to command it, to declare it. This is going to strengthen your fortitude. This is going to strengthen your self-love, your worthiness. Also, when you say no, it's okay for me to say no. I do not accept that. That is abundance also. Like, I love the ability, because that's an option. That's an additional option from people pleasing and just saying yes. So I look at no as an abundance experience just as much as saying yes, I'm open to receive, right? So just I guess that was one of it. What was the other two? I don't even know where Spirit was taking me with that, because I would have kept going. But oh yeah, allowing yourself to the declaration, that in itself, when you're identifying energies in your space, when you're identifying energies in your space, look at what they are representing in your life, right? And if it's feeling draining, that's okay. Just know, is this something that this can potentially become a leak. This can become, something that is not going to be moving forward in my mission with me. And is there a purpose behind it, rather than criticizing it? Because it's very easy to judge and criticize things for what it is, because that fear would do that. The ego's going to do that. It's just a natural thing. You were talking about feeling the parasites in your body, right? When you're doing these chantings, when you're being observant, right? Even if you're in a room and you're actively walking around just having conversation, your body's always going to talk to you, and you're going to feel things, right? Some people say gut feeling, or butterflies, or whatever the case may be. But it could be as random as like you just feeling like, it's kind of hurting me here out of nowhere, or like just movement, like just your body moving. A lot of the times that is an entity, because you are declaring, right? You're declaring your sovereignty. You're declaring who you are. You're declaring that these entities no longer have jurisdiction over your mind, your body, your spirit, right? In your any energetic sphere that is in alignment with where it is that you're going, or what it is that you want to do. And you're gonna feel those things. And again, just stand 10 feet ground. You have to do a lot of grounding work, right? And that is abundance. Having the ability to be still is abundance. You want $10 billion, you have to know when to shut up. Sometimes you look prettier with your mouth closed. Sometimes you open up to more opportunities. When you are in your stillness, you receive infinite resources just pouring through, you know and so I feel like it's really important to maybe just practice like a talk fast or a water fast or just some sort of fasting technique, and you're going to see the word fasting, right? Well, it seems as if I have to stop eating for a certain amount of time. And so if you look at it as, oh, I'm going without, then you're not looking at the polarity of you're going within and you're speeding up the quantum leaping. That's why it is a fast. It makes it go faster, right? You're lightening up your frequency, your body to get to that. This body is only a reflection of your light fragments, right? The light that you embody. And sometimes, we get a little dusty. We get, and that's okay. We have experiences, all things in moderation, right? Because, I feel like all things in moderation, but if there's a time and a place for things, right? And so if that means that, maybe you were moderate with like eating meat, maybe you didn't eat meat every day, but it's time for you to do a fast. And so that might be like not eating meat at all for a certain amount of time, and maybe afterwards you want to eat meat, or maybe you won't again. But again, this is it's a life long journey, and we never really die. And so what are you wanting to create as you're living infinite lives, right? All this potential that you have, what are you doing with it? So focusing on the concentration. I did want to ask you, would you recommend any like sound frequency, a specific sound frequency that a person can like start off listening to, if they wanted to, and then do they need to wear like headphones, or can they just listen to it just in the air?
Yeah, cool. Um, I just want to say yes to the stillness. Like that is so key. And especially when we're doing these big, massive level ups, like these up cycles, it's like it might feel like oh, it's the same thing again, but no, it's like tightening, right? Like the same pattern is going to come around, but it'll be less next time and you'll catch it earlier. And the same going up and up. And like when we're in those spaces, like it could get really tight and compressed. And I'm myself, like, I got this song. I don't know if I've released it yet, but it's I alchemize all resistance into assistance through persistence. And that's true to an extent, but there is a point where it's like, how much am I pushing? And that's where it's like, okay, come back to the space of stillness. And yeah, that what can help with that too is specific frequencies. And what we want to think about with the frequencies is there's two aspects to it. So you can play a set amount of frequencies, and they're going, your body, the DNA, the water, it's all going to receive it. And that could look like you can download Z app, like Zebra, and APP, and that has thousands of frequencies in it. For 1,400 programs already. But now you can play those out loud, but they're not going to sound good. So the ideal thing is you want to play them through a device. We have devices at zeropointfrequencies.com. But like I said, it's simple. You can make them yourself too if you have any kind of like background with soldering. But the base level of it is you just want to play them through an amplifier into something that turns that sound into vibration. Now you can listen to them, but it's going to sound like a lot. If you go on YouTube and look up frequencies, all that's going to be retuned to 440. So you're not going to get the optimal benefit out of it. Now the other part to it is hemisync. Some people call it. I forget the name of the institute that came up with it, but that involves playing two different frequencies. And I think that I don't know off the top of my head, but what I remember is that you play. Let's say we play 100 frequency, like 100 hertz, and then this one we play 107.83 hertz. The difference between those is going to be the frequency your body's receiving. So the difference between those would be 7.83 hertz, which is the Schumann resonance. Now, hemisync will play like one frequency through one side and the other through the other. And what that does is it's syncing the hemispheres of our brain, and that's basically getting you to alpha brainwave state. And that's the key with rewiring the subconscious. Is alpha brainwave state is the space in between going to sleep and waking up. It's not as deep as theta or delta, but you can still be present with it. You could be walking in the grocery store, hit your mudra when you're feeling anxiety, and come to your parasympathetic breath, and your body is going to be trained to recognize, oh, when I do this, I go to alpha, and you're going to go into that space easier. So those are two different ways to work with the frequencies. The hemisync is definitely a quantum leap, but also like, it requires a little bit more know-how. Like, all right, this frequency with this frequency, what's my intention with this frequency? There's like tapes and programs out there you can find if you just look up hemisync. But as far as just playing, right, like frequencies, like 7.83 hertz is the Schumann resonance, so that's the frequency of Earth, so that's grounding. 136.1 hertz is Ohm. 126.22 hertz is your solar plexus or the sun and the sun. 6,000 hertz is calming. 1565 hertz is spiritual alignment. Those are all really good ones. I call those baseline frequencies. Like anytime we send somebody a device that comes with a tablet, it comes pre-programmed with, well, not anytime, it depends what they get, but we like to pre-program them. I think everybody does get it. I have to go back and look at what they get. But baseline frequencies. They're also in the back of the ebook. I wrote an ebook. It'll be printed soon called Quantum Embodiment. You can get the full one on the website for 44 bucks, I think. Or there's a bunch of free chapters you can download on there from it. And every free chapter has in the back a frequency list. And there's an intro chapter on working with scalar, how ancient civilizations use scalar, what we can do with the geoengineering going on with scalar, what we can do with parasites like we've been talking about. So those are all really good frequencies, and I want to tie that into like when you were talking earlier, it kept coming through to me like when we're talking about affirmations, like yes, the present moment, I am. But then another major key for activating the mind-heart coherence is as if it's already done in the frequency of joy and celebration. So something that I practice is I have a journal, right? And I have like 10 confirmations or 10 affirmations, 10 intentions in it. And then every night before I go to bed, I write down what ones like confirmations from the day that confirm my affirmations. And I'll write them in the third person because it's already done. Like Amethyst has already received, what is one of mine? Like Amethyst is already in a space of abundance. I don't know any off the top of my head right now. But like, so it's in the third person, right? So now as the observer talking to this human spacesuit that we've got, the human spacesuit is like, oh, I'm identified by this name. It's already done. It's already here. And that's like part of this whole key of like, observe the observer in stillness. Because when we observe what's happening, it takes us out of it actually happening to us. We're just observing it being a part of the experience, like a video game. And when you were sharing too about like whatever showing up, right? If it's an energy, if it's a pattern, if it's an entity, it's not, oh, I don't like it, go away. It's just like, I acknowledge that's here right now. And like, like you were saying, like, where does it go to the root? And that's really how we get to the root of these things is like self-inquiry. Like yoga is the science of self-inquiry, self-discovery. And when we go to that space, it's also like we're no longer identifying like with those stories because we're not just that story. We're all of it, and we get to choose which piece that we're interacting with. And when we incorporate these frequencies and do this work together, like with those intertwined, it moves so much faster. And I also want to say something here that's based in complete truth is I'm not going to tell you that getting a device or getting a tensor ring is going to make you feel good. In fact, more than likely, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable at first. I work with harmonizers and frequency devices basically every single day. And there are times where as soon as I put a harmonizer on, my experience gets real uncomfortable. And it's not that the harmonizer is doing it. It's bringing up what I have not harmonized within myself. So I'm not blaming the thing. I'm not upset at it. I'm just like, oh, I was supposed to go do this thing today that's fun, and I've got all this stuff I'm working through. So instead of like being like, oh, why is this happening? Like, I'm still going to go do the fun thing if it feels aligned. And I'm just going to acknowledge and make space for maybe I don't feel as fun as I thought I would feel. Or I might just say, no, I'm going to do a cold plunge and, be in my space and move this energy through. So really just like highlighting like no matter what you choose, it's really a big tapestry that we're weaving with our individual experience and external experience. And at the right time, the right relationships and the right tools will appear. And yeah, Jesus, shout out to the harmonizers, shout out to Eternal Light Technology, shout out to Munis Magica, shout out to Conscious Light, Conscious Bliss, shout out to Jesus, shout out to Alu Shadi, shout out to everybody who is working with this tech and making this tech. And as somebody who holds space with people in sessions for rewiring the subconscious and doing remote sessions with the scalar and the frequencies, like in my own experience, a lot of it has been uncomfortable, but it's led to the biggest up cycles and blessings and alignments. And I can say the same thing for the people I work with. Like a lot of stuff you'll see out there, like it's going to change your life. You're going to feel great. And it's like, yeah, you will. But after you move through the stuff that doesn't feel so good, that's just how it is here as alchemists during this holy shift in this great school of Earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Damn. We just got like way more than like 50 grand's worth of of richness up in this live, and like I don't even know how long it's been, but a little over an hour. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I definitely am so grateful for everything that you shared. I am gonna ask you to. I know you mentioned the website already and all that you do. I will say this. I had like you had this because you have the Telegram group also, and so you're constantly you guys post on their resources and ebooks. And I'm gonna tell ya, listen, take your time with this information. If it seems like it's a lot at first, that's okay. You can always go back to it. One of the things that you mentioned is like, oh, maybe like for example, today I had so much things I was supposed to do today, but because I did, I decided that I was gonna like go a little bit more inwards today because of my weekend, and I did not. And that is a luxury, and I feel like the fact that I can tell myself, no, I don't have to go outside and I don't have to do these things allows for me. Yeah, I could be like, oh, but I gotta pay this bill, or I gotta pay, my rent, or I need this money, or I need get whatever the case may be. I could have let those things run my mind and ruin my mood, but instead I was like, no, I'm abundant. I'll go tomorrow because I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm affirming that and if I don't wake up tomorrow, then it doesn't even matter. At that point, it doesn't even matter. But I say that because, you know, really quick with me, I have so many seeds and so many things that have come into my life because I always I kept saying, I'm gonna, build my apothecary, and I'm gonna grow my own food and my own herbs. And, you know, I had my siblings have jokes on me. They were laughing at me, making fun of me because I had like, on the windowsill, okay, of an apartment. And, I'm indoors. I'm in an apartment right now, and I have a raised bed in my living room with grow lights around here and plants over here, and I have a balcony outside. And I'm like, every time I'm getting seeds, I actually found a resource right on Facebook. I was looking up, seed trading groups. That was the best like thing right there. Like just connecting with other people, you start learning more. Okay, now I'm growing things that I'm pretty sure somebody gonna need it at some point, and is either they'll be able to get it from me or barter from me, and that creates a ripple, right? Where you letting the opportunities come to you. right? So allow that, allow the opportunities to come to you. I was reading one of his ebooks, and the first page, it was like it was so intricate but so simple. I said, how the fuck do you do that? Like, it was so, I was like, this is it, it's simple. It's it's simple but not easy all the time, you know. And so just, just putting it out there, because like he said, there's going to be moments where it's uncomfortable. So anyways, I do want to say thank you very much again for all that you have shared. If anybody wants to know a little bit more about all that he has to offer, please let us know once again, like where they can find you, whether it's for crypto, whether it's for subconscious healing, whether it's just to connect, either with your Telegram or the Rainbow Tribe and everything else you got going on. Shilajit, yeah, I'm telling y'all also, I'm just saying, is worth it. I don't know if y'all still have a sale going on, but let me tell you, a little goes a long way. Start working with your bodies, y'all. And I'm gonna leave it with that. It was 0.frequency.com, but I'm gonna let him tell the rest. And for everyone there, I didn't see any questions, so just thank you all. I'm just integrating and downloading all of this as well, so I'm hot and it's all good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, what you were saying, like what you're doing with growing food inside and all that, like, thank you. Because that's the embodiment. It does not matter where you are on the map, it does not matter where you are in your life. You can choose what it is, and just by implementing it in your everyday, it's going to become your reality. And that's what Rainbow Bridge is all about. We are all where we are supposed to be on the earth grid to steward that space in that area. All the lines connect, and there's clusters, and you can basically be on specific clusters. Everybody's doing the work, and it's going to light up that whole section of the grid. So Rainbow Bridge is also meant to be part of that and connect the grid. So yeah, we do have a Telegram. You can DM me for that. You can learn more about what we do with our PMA, Rainbow Bridge Sanctuary.world. It's an intentional community, and we're working with Paradise Syndicate to acquire the land that we're on and build a net positive village. So all that is happening right now, and you can learn more about like who we are, our guiding principles, and really what we're here to be is a template. Like, we share our stuff so others can take it and do it where they are. And you want to be affiliated with us? Great. You want to take what we've done and go, do a version of it where you are? Awesome. Like, this is my prayer I'm stewarding, but this is the big prayer that we're all in. And then there's 0.frequencies.com, and that's where you can get the scalar and frequency devices. We curate the kits. We work with people that we trust that make the things. We put them together, and that's where you can also get the Shilajit. Yeah, there's still a sale going. The code was supposed to turn off on Sunday. I think I didn't turn it off yet. So you get 50 grams of high-grade Shilajit from the Altai Mountains for $35.55 plus shipping. It's usually $55.55, and like for real, the quality it is, like you're not gonna find a better value. And the last site that we have, and we just launched this year, is rainbowbridgeacademy.com, and that's our educational hub, and that's where you can find all the ebooks, you can find all the walkthrough videos, you can book a session for crypto, and ultimately you could just DM me here and we'll point you in the right direction. I want to thank you so much, sister, for bringing me on, for inviting me into this space, and for this really potent, deep conversation that we've had, this build. And it's like, it's so funny how it all works. It's like we met one time in person, but it was at a time and space where it's like it ripples outwards. And that's one of the most beautiful things I think about being here on earth right now, is like, through technology, we're remembering that we're all connected, and it doesn't mean that we all have to be in the same space, because ultimately we are all in the same space on the higher dimensional level. So just want to say I appreciate you greatly and all that you do and everything that you're bringing for all the people. And like, I see you here as a way shower as well. And I see everybody here tuning in as way showers, because we are on the leading curve of mass adoption of divine remembrance. So go out there, be in your embodiment, and be something that people can see and either choose to be like, hey, I see that as a model and I'd like to do it, or maybe it triggers them in shadow and they got to go do some more deeper inner work before they're ready. But yeah, it's just a really beautiful time to be here and sharing this space with everybody. And I'm thankful for everybody tapping in and thankful for everybody just being here on Earth right now.
Except for the parasites.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna let
I'm,
you
I'm still thankful to them though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have them in my reality and they're not welcome here, but I'm thankful to them because I learned how to be in that space of sovereignty.
yes. I'm just playing. I'll sprinkle a little diatomaceous earth on this. Okay, yeah. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. No, thank you all. May you all drink the water, please. Stay hydrated. Allow yourself to come back, watch the replay because I'm even gonna watch the replay. There was some gems here that as much as we know these things, you don't really know it until you know it and you're embodying it. So just if you need to listen again to get down any other information, please do so. Share the live also with or the replays with others as well. And yeah, look forward to building with you some more. We're definitely gonna link up in person at some point too, because I got some seeds that need to spread out, and I got some spirit fingers that I know. I also, I have people in Illinois and Woodstock that's been wanting me to go out there that I met when I was living in the woods for a bit. So, I should take a trip out there at some point. We probably know some of the same people or something. I wouldn't doubt that. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Y'all have a good night. Rest well and put your intentions in before you go to bed. So that way when you wake up, you're already in resonance and alignment with it, right? You're doing it, you're already doing it now. So just be there. And I'll meet you on the other side. Peace.
Peace. Much love, fam.